The rain poured relentlessly from the dark, ominous clouds. The thunder roared with anger, and the lightning split the sky, illuminating a quaint, sleepy little town named Willowbrook. Its streets glistened with the old-time beauty of wet cobblestones and turn-of-the-century buildings. In the heart of this quiet town stood an old, decrepit mansion known as the Montford house. Abandoned for decades, its history tainted by rumors of a cursed history. The legend of the Montford house began one fateful night, 50 years ago, when the last living Montford, Victor, vanished without a trace. The night of his disappearance, a seething storm, just like this one, raged and covered the town in an eerie blanket of gloom and despair. As the townsfolk tell it, the mansion was left to the elements once Victor died. The lonely house was now condemned to reenact the cursed night indefinitely. A young professional couple, John and Lisa, from out of town, were just looking into purchasing the Montford house as a place to settle down and raise a family. They had heard the chilling tales that circulated among the town's residents. But the couple were undeterred by the legends and wild stories, and decided to spend the night in the Montford house as they made plans for the rehab of the old property. Armed with a flashlight, sleeping bags, and an unwavering sense of curiosity, John and Lisa crossed the threshold and entered the gloomy mansion to explore their potential new home. As the hours passed, the adventurous couple wandered through the dark, dusty corridors, their flashlights' beams revealing faded portraits of the Montford family. Their eyes seemed to follow John and Lisa's every step. Lisa couldn't shake the feeling that the house held unsettling dark secrets, secrets that doomed the old mansion to something dark, something horrible. Finally, they reached a grand, ornate mirror at the end of the hallway. The classic giant looking glass reached from the floor all the way to the vaulted ceiling. Their reflections appeared distorted and sinister, not unlike that of a funhouse mirror. The eerie reflection sent shivers down Lisa's spine. When the clock struck midnight, an ominous silence fell over the house. The thunder and rain ceased, and the once dimly lit house filled with a mystical glow. Lisa's heart raced as she and John ventured deeper into the mansion, admiring the old paintings, dilapidated wallpaper, and long-forgotten furniture. Eventually, the corridor led them to the grand ballroom, where a perfectly preserved grand piano stood in the center of the once elegant hall. As John and Lisa wandered around the spacious ballroom, the piano began to play all by itself, an eerie tune, echoing through the room with its high walls and grand domed ceiling. The young couple were entranced by its melody. They soon felt a presence watching them. Just then, John's flashlight revealed a shadowy figure, dressed in 19th century attire, seated at the piano, playing a hauntingly beautiful waltz. With a shock, Lisa recognized the figure as Victor Montford, the last of the Montfords, from the large portrait hanging in the foyer. Victor, his eyes hollow and mournful, played continuously, as if he was unable to stop playing. To John's horror, Victor beckoned Lisa with a skeletal hand, urging her to join him at the old grand piano. Unable to resist the eerie pull, Lisa moved closer. His voice, like a whisper in the wind, echoed in her ears. "You have entered my eternal night, where every hour is a lifetime." She couldn't resist. Not even her husband could break the spell Victor had put on his wife. Suddenly, the clock struck 1, and Lisa and John were consumed by a blinding white light, their vision distorted, bodies quaking with fear and excitement. When the light receded, John and Lisa found themselves back at the entrance of the Montford house, rain pouring down and thunder raging as if time had reversed itself. The watch on John's wrist displayed the same time it had when they first entered the abandoned mansion. The couple's hearts raced as they realized they were back where they started. The legend had seemingly proven true. Had they entered a perpetual nightmare? John and Lisa were trapped in a time loop that replayed the same night over and over. The mansion seemed to mock them, with its sinister laughter, its corridors dark and never-ending. John and Lisa retraced their steps, hope dwindling with each passing hour. They never could find an exit. Each time the clock struck 1, they were right back where the nightmare began. Each attempt to break free from this haunted place was met with a replay of the last hour. At this point, John and Lisa just wanted nothing more than to be home in their own warm bed and away from this ghastly prison. The piano played the same haunting melody, and Victor Montford's phantasmal form appeared again, repeating the same chilling words. No matter how hard they tried to resist, the cycle persisted, each loop a nightmare in its own right. Lisa's mind raced with questions and fears. Was there even a way to escape this twisted curse? Was this to be her new life? Or what was left of it? She spent countless iterations trying to understand the rules of her imprisonment, searching for hidden clues, and experimenting with different actions. But the more the couple tried, the more the mansion and Victor seemed to conspire against them. Days blurred into weeks, then months. Time lost its meaning as the now worn and psychologically battered couple continued to fight against the tormenting cycle. They grew increasingly disheveled and haunted, their once adventurous spirit now replaced by desperation and paranoia. The eerie echoing words of Victor Montford became a maddening mantra. You have entered my eternal night, where every hour is a lifetime. One day, as John and Lisa wandered the mansion's library for the 100th time, a peculiar book caught John's eye. Its spine was cracked, pages yellowed, and the title read, The Montford Chronicles. With trembling hands, he opened it to a passage describing an ancient ritual that claimed to be the answer to breaking the curse. It involved a hidden chamber, an amulet, and a final plea to the spirit of Victor Montford. Desperate to escape this endless torment, the couple set out to uncover the secrets of the ritual. The mansion's mystifying architecture, however, seemed designed to keep them trapped. Hidden doors eluded them, corridors twisted and turned, and the rooms shifted their layout with each cycle. Anything to keep Victor's new playthings inside those cursed walls. As the weary couple spiraled deeper into madness, the once charming mansion became a labyrinth of despair. They could barely recognize themselves in the cracked mirrors, eyes hollow and tormented. Their only hope lay in that elusive ritual, but it remained just out of reach. Maybe this was to be their final home after all. In one of their countless loops, Lisa and John decided to take a small rest in one of the long, dark corridors. As they leaned against the wall, the wainscoting panel shifted, revealing a room they had never seen before. The small, secret entryway revealed a small chamber filled with relics of the Montford family from a long-forgotten time. Among them, Lisa discovered an ancient amulet adorned with a crimson gem. This must be the key to the ritual's completion. With the amulet in their possession, the newly re-energized duo returned to the grand ballroom, ready to face Victor and solve this terrible puzzle once and for all. The Spectre's mournful gaze seemed to pierce her soul as Lisa placed the amulet on the piano. In a trembling voice, she and John uttered the incantation he had found in the Montford Chronicles. The room quaked, and a vortex of swirling energy enveloped her. All John could do was stand back and watch. Victor's ghost wailed. The mansion's walls shook, and the floor buckled and writhed. In this moment, the world seemed to be coming apart at the seams. In a blinding flash of light, Lisa was transported to a surreal realm, a place that existed outside of space and time. Before her stood the ghostly figure of Victor, his countenance shifting between despair and relief. He spoke, his voice a haunting whisper. You have unraveled the threads of the curse, but to break free, you must face the darkest part of yourself. With that, he disappeared, and Lisa found herself transported to a mirror. But this was no ordinary mirror. Instead of showing a reflection of the physical appearance, it actually revealed a reflection of her own soul. John was there as well. Somehow, he had been transported to the very same spot as his wife. As they gazed at the mirror, Lisa's inner demons and regrets surfaced. Her own past mistakes and misdeeds. The only way out of this house was to confront them, to make amends, and to find forgiveness within herself. This would prove to be more difficult than she would have imagined. The journey through her own memories was a grueling and emotional ordeal. She faced the pain of past betrayals, the guilt of her own actions, and the fear that she had never truly forgiven her wrongdoers or herself. But as she made amends with the ghosts of her past, the mirror realm slowly began to crumble and contort. Finally, Lisa stood before the mirror, tears in her eyes, her heart lighter than it had been in years. With a resolute gaze, she uttered the words, "I forgive myself." And with that, the mirror instantly shattered. Then, in another blinding light, Lisa and John were transported back to the grand ballroom, and the curse that had trapped them, and Victor, for so long, had been broken. The mansion no longer mocked her, the piano fell silent, and the time loop ceased. The rain outside had subsided, the thunderstorm had passed, and the couple were finally free to leave the Montford house. With a sense of newfound purpose, Lisa exited the cursed mansion with John, her steps light, her spirit reinvigorated. Lisa and John returned to Willowbrook, forever changed by their harrowing experience. The once quiet town buzzed with rumors about the courageous journey into the Montford house. John, and especially Lisa, were hailed as heroes, the ones who had finally broken the cursed cycle that had plagued the town for half a century. The mansion itself, now free from the shackles of time, almost seemed to breathe a sigh of relief. Its dark history, once a heavy burden, began to fade into the past. The Montford house, once a symbol of terror, was now just an ordinary old mansion, now ready for its new owners to make it into a real home again, just not for John and Lisa. As for Lisa, she had found her sense of adventure rekindled, though it was tempered by the wisdom gained from her ordeal. She no longer sought the thrill of the unknown for its own sake, but used her newfound courage and knowledge to help others in need. From now on, she would consult John to make sure she wasn't making any rash decisions. The echoes of that fateful night continued to resonate through her dreams and memories, a reminder of the darkness she had faced and conquered. The experience had left the couple forever marked, survivors of a day that repeated itself over and over, a day that had once seemed eternal, but was in the end just a fleeting nightmare in the grand tapestry of life. And so, the Montford house, once a place of dread, now was a symbol of triumph over the past, a testament to the enduring strength of the human spirit, and a reminder that even the most ominous legends can be shattered by the power of hope, forgiveness, and self-discovery.